Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today.
Everything's better. Mother and daughter, oh, they're the greatest duo. Mother and daughter, oh, they're the greatest duo.
Hey, it's Miss Dawn. You wondering how you can support our show, Mother-Daughter-ish? We have Cash App, we have PayPal, and we do have Vimeo. Support our show so that we can reach out to more women. Our goal is to reach and build a community of 1 million women. Why don't you come on and help us do that?
Hey, mothers and daughters. Well, guess what? Today we are taking you with us to Monterrey, Mexico. Paiton and I, my daughter, the youngest one, she went with me actually for my birthday to Oaxaca. That's Oaxaca, Oaxaca, Mexico. And unfortunately, our plane had a delay. Well, the unfortunateness ended up being such a fun opportunity. We met some other wonderful people that also was in this unfortunate situation. And so we just decided we're going to go over to Nuevo Leon. We're going to go over to downtown Monterrey, Mexico. We're going to go do some fun things. So that's exactly what we did, is we did some fun things. That's Paiton and myself there taking a picture in front of the sign downtown for Nuevo Leon. And one thing I love about Monterrey, Mexico is it felt like I was really in downtown Houston. It was very, your typical downtown, buildings and museums and things to do and lots of traffic and, people going back and forth and doing things. We found a Starbucks and I got some fruit juice and the other people got some coffee and stuff. I don't drink coffee, so I didn't get to get any. But, we had a really, really good time. So we really, really, really did what we always hear. They say be the change you want to see. So we turned lemons into lemonade, even met some new people. And it was really, really good. As you can see on the screen, that's the other couple that was in the unfortunate situation with us. So we decided to do a few things. We took the little boat ride that's kind of like being at the San Antonio Riverwalk. Oh my goodness. When I tell you it was so much fun, it was so beautiful. I saw one particular high-rise, I think it was an apartment complex possibly, but or it could have been a hotel, I'm not sure, but when I looked behind me, it just looked like the pictures that you see so many people sending you from Dubai and other places. But this particular river walk was so fascinating. It had the real steel barrel where they used to make particular things, as you can see right there. That is a real barrel that they used to actually put the steel in and melt it down to make things like paper clips and all of that. I'll show you what I'm talking about as I walk you through the museum that we went to a few minutes after this. But it was really, really fun. We got a chance to walk around and just be ourselves. It was no problems. That little pigeon there, he was asleep in a store on one leg. And I was like, okay, I got to get a picture of that because he is just way too fancy. So I was like, let me get a picture of that. We had a really good time. One thing I also liked about downtown Monterrey near the museum is that they had a park that is like a body trainer or bodybuilder's dream. The reason why I said it's a bodybuilder or a body trainer's dream is because they had so many activities that you can do for no cost, like things for your arms, things for your legs, things for your butt, things for your back. That's us right there. We were getting a little snack. We were getting some water. I wanted to try some popcorn because it looked so good, but when I tasted a sample of one, it was so stale. I was like, my popcorn life doesn't work like that. So I just couldn't do any stale popcorn, but I really wanted to have a fresh pop me some fresh popcorn, but she did not want to do that. But they ended up getting like some mango drinks and some other things, and I think Paiton ended up getting a soda. I ended up getting some water, and we just kind of sat and watched. You know, one thing I really love to do, and it's maybe weird to other people, but I love watching people. Even if it's people I know, I just like watching people and looking at their responses and things like that. So it might sound weird to some people, but it's really, really fun for me. Again, we were in Oaxaca, Mexico for a week, and as we were headed back home, again, our plane unfortunately got delayed. And you know, thing about a delayed airplane is that you're thinking about all the things that you have planned, because if you're like me, you work with a schedule because you're really, really busy and you don't want things to clash and cause stress and all of that kind of stuff. So I worked with a schedule, so I had things planned that I needed to do. By the way, this is that park that I was
She
talking
works out
about.
sometimes.
Everything was free. So imagine if you're a personal trainer and you bring your client out there and you go, okay, we're going to work out for an hour. We're going to do, you know, 10-minute repetitions on this little, I don't know the name of any of this. You know, look at Paiton showing out. I mean, just like totally showing out. If I would have did that, I probably needed a leg cast after or something. Who knows? But it was so much fun. We laughed so hard at each other and just tried it all out. I did not try that one. You know, I wasn't good at the monkey bars in school, so I definitely wasn't finna show out like that. But Paiton, she just got on all of them and just showed us how they worked, and then we decided which ones we wanted to try. I only wanted to try a couple of them because I was just like, okay, we all doing too much at this point. So it was really, really, really fun. But again, like I was saying, if a trainer, a personal trainer, wanted to bring his clients out and wanted to work out with it, because most of the trainers that I see, they do work out with their clients. And if you wanted to bring your clients out and work out with them, I wish Houston had something like this where you could just, and let's just say every single park you could go and you could do this type of workout with your trainer or even with yourself. It would make it so much easier to put up your repetitions of things that you wanted to do and to be able to go to the park. Now, yes, I can imagine that when you get to the park, there's going to be 7,500 other people. Yes, I get it. I got it. There's going to be other people there. But at least the option is there for you that you can wait until it's your turn. Do other things.
You could go in and go out depending on which part of your body you're trying to work.
There was only one of everything pretty much, so you would definitely have to wait your turn if it was in a highly trafficked type of area. That's why I say put it in every park, especially every city or county park, and then that way everyone gets an opportunity to use them. You can decide which ones you want to go to, and if you want to make it even better, you can put it in every park and put maybe 3 or 4 of each one of those, because they didn't take up a lot of space, as you can see.
One at a time. There you go.
And that's me trying out. Like I said, I only tried maybe 3 of them, and then I was like, okay, yeah, this is my workout for the month. But that right there was really, really fun. It was effortless. It didn't wear me out. I mean, it was really, really cool. Kind of reminded me of you know, like the little leg seesaw things that they do at the gym, but that was on the outside. So, imagine when it gets cooler outside and the weather is good and you can just work out and have a good time. As you can see, we just playing around on it because we had our purses on it. So, we go over to this old steel mill museum. As you can see, I'm walking dangerously across this thing, and I had to video because I was like, this is so out of my character to be doing crazy stuff, even though I do crazy stuff all the time. But we go into this museum and the views were absolutely beautiful. Now, y'all, they tried to trick me. Tried to get me to walk up 300 and something steps. And, you know, the memory of Malaysia came back when I walked up those 127 steps and was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to die. My lungs were burning. But anyway.
He's going to end up in an alternate universe with that tin hat.
Rock of Ages or something. He was like, my lungs are burning. That was me. But anyway, we found this little museum that used to make all these steel products. We don't know who makes them now because this one is closed down and they turned it into a museum. But you can get things like paper clips and anything that you see made out of little steel items. They used to make it at this particular place. Now, something happened on a political level. The steel place got closed down and they ended up doing it somewhere else, which we never really found out where they're doing it now. But now they use this building for other things. Now, there's a very, very, very upscale restaurant there. There's a very, very nice little cafe area where you can buy drinks and things. They had a lot of historical things there. Like you see that TV, that literally was a box TV that we used to use in all of our homes. So laugh if you want to, but if you had a TV probably back in the 60s or whatever, that's probably what your TV looked like. And I sure know we had a phone that looked like that. And I sure know I used to type on typewriters in high school when I took typing class. And I'm so glad I took typing class, because by the time I was 18 or 19 years old, I could type over 200 words a minute. Now I type however many words I want. I don't count. I don't care. But anyway, in this steel place, they just had so much historical information. They even had some pictures of the people who used to work in the steel place before it was closed down. They had a lot of historical cars that had been made out of metal. They had all kinds of different little not little, but all kinds of designs. It was kind of like a path walkthrough where you could just start from the beginning and go all the way through the building. There were a lot of things you could take pictures of and take pictures with. I tried to get as many photos as I could, because I like to be able to bring it back to you, mothers and daughters, so y'all could see not just the fun things that I get an opportunity to do, but that you would link up together, mothers. You would link up together, daughters, and that you would go and do these things too. Again, this was in Monterrey, Mexico. Again, you never know where you're going to end up, because my goal wasn't to go to Monterrey, Mexico. As a matter of fact, I had avoided flights that were doing a drop-off in Mexico City or Monterrey, Mexico, simply because I wanted to save that for times when I specifically go to those places. But here I am deciding again to not just make lemon out of, not just take lemons and make lemonade, but to put a twist on the lemonade. So I saw this little slide thing, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can't leave here without doing that. And then after Paiton went in there and did it, to try to steal my thunder, it was like I had to do it. There was no
Keep your feet
option.
up.
There was no maybe I will. It was, it was like, oh no, I'm doing that. I'm literally going to be going through this slide, and as you can see, I'm out. And there I go. So it was so much fun. When I got in there, it went so fast. And it was so much fun, and I didn't do what Paiton told me. She told me, she said, lift your feet up.
You got it.
Like, yeah, I wanted control. So I didn't really lift them, so I didn't slide as fast
I told
as I could.
you.
Child, I thought of sliding out and coming out like in the water. I'm just saying other universe stuff. But anyway, this is me getting another piece of exercise in on this little bike. And what you had to do is you had to get the red thing all the way up to the top. So I got the red thing up and was like, okay, I give up. It was not easy. The key to it was to go faster, but the more you went, the more resistance it gave you. That's the paper clips right there that were stacked up in the jar and everything, just showing you kind of some of the products that they used to make, these little outfits, little tin outfits. So anything metal or steel or whatever they could melt it down to, they melted it down to it. Which I thought, instead of letting the building just go to waste, it was great to make a museum out of it. Something I did see too on their wall, they have so many big time sponsors from oil companies and everywhere else. So again, the mystery is, I do not know what they do in this building now, other than the museum. But because the building was so huge, there has to be office space in there for private things. There has to be money coming in and out of that door from business people, because the restaurant there was very, very, very expensive. There was a beautiful little jewelry shop. Well, I'm going to call it a souvenir shop because it had more than jewelry. We bought quite a few things out of there. Paiton bought, I believe, like a bracelet or a necklace or something. The couple that was with us, he brought a necklace and something else. And I bought some pins out of there just as memorabilia. Of course, I like to have things that are from other places. Like, for example, when I buy jewelry or something and somebody says, oh, my God, that's beautiful. Where'd you get it from? I'm like, oh, I got that in, I don't know, Monterrey, Mexico. I don't know. 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 I don't the Bahamas or whatever, because I do have jewelry from every single place. I typically go to places and I will buy a piece of jewelry, something I can wear, even if it's like costume stuff. I don't mean like real jewelry, I mean costume stuff. I'll show you some of the costume stuff that I bought in another video, but this was at the highest view that we could get, and when I tell you it was high, it was really high. The elevator that we took was so old-fashioned, and it went off of chains. As you can see, the elevator was run by a single guy who got in, pushed a button, and you could hear the chains going up. You know, the sound of chains when they're turning. So it was a very old-fashioned opportunity to get up to the top. But once we got up there, the views were amazing. You know how when you get to the top of a building and you start looking down at that building and you get like that little,
Ooh, I don't like the way that dipped down
in your stomach, like, ooh, this is kind of high. That was the feeling I had the whole time I was up there. That feeling in your legs, like your legs are sweating. That's me and Paiton trying to get a really good view up there at the top, because the view really was awesome. I'm glad they had the wire walls behind us, because it could have been quite dangerous. But look at that mountain and everything behind us. However, it did restrict a lot of the view. So my warning is that the pictures are doing it no justice. It's really kind of the reasons why I think my girls really don't like taking a lot of pictures when they go places. They just prefer to leave it to the memory, because sometimes the pictures literally do these beautiful places no justice at all. So again, I can understand why they don't really care to take pictures and stuff, whereas I'm trying to get everything on memory so that when I get old and I'm going back through my photo books, I have all those great memories that may come up, may not. But I'm definitely just not going to trust any of this to memory. And let me tell you why. Because all through my 20s and 30s as a professional speaker, I never took pictures or video. Simply because I wanted to just protect the identity of people in the audience and the locations that I was doing things at, and you know, maybe groups that I didn't necessarily ask for permission. So I didn't take a lot of pictures and videos, but to this day, I regret that I did not take pictures. So that's why I always have my camera ready, either on photo or video, because I love to snapshot. Now, I'm not the type that's going to put any foolishness on video. For example, if I'm out and about, and let's just say there's a brawl or a fight or an argument or something crazy going on. Now, if it's something where somebody is killed or something like that, and I happen to get it on video, that's a different deal there. But I'm talking about just simply foolishness I'm not putting on my camera. But things of beauty, things of that I want to remember, things of like, you know, those are the things.
I said it's almost that
video, like this picture right here, the video of that beautiful mountain behind. There's a story about that mountain back there too. They say if you go into that mountain, you're going to come out without your shoes and possibly your clothing, simply because when you go up there and they know you're not from there, they will steal everything from you. Now, I didn't understand that completely, because there are literally people who have built homes up in there, but also there's also a little contention, because that's us in the old-fashioned elevator, but there's a lot of people that back in the day, before they had to purchase the land, they would just go and pick the land, build their property, and it was free land pretty much up there on the mountain. So I'm assuming maybe it's the people who want to protect the part that they got for free, as opposed to those that are coming in now that are buying the property and building mansions and all of those things, which, you know, of course, is not our business. But, you know, people have a thing about that. That's our elevator operator. And again, it was an outside elevator. I don't know what happens when it rains. Maybe the elevator doesn't take you up, but it was a very slow, very nice elevator ride. Kind of reminds you of like when you're in a roller coaster, and then the roller coaster has to take you up, and you pretty much, that's the couple back there that got stranded with us. But the elevator, you know, has to take you up before the roller coaster goes off. And so, you know, as you can see, when we got ready to get back in to go back down, it was like the same situation. Now, the elevator goes up and down all day long, so we were waiting there with another guy, the four of us and another guy, and then when he came back up.
Almost like a little roller
He just
coaster.
comes back up and down periodically to see if anybody's waiting to come up and down. There was no bell to ring or anything to say,
Oh, I see
hey,
it now.
we're ready. And there was none of that. So this was a very interesting, very, very interesting elevator ride. To say the least, I found it intriguing. To say the least, I found it to be very educational.
Oh, I like
You
it.
can see the elevator right there.
It's like the little trolley
just thought
thing
it
when
was
you go on the
very
ski slope.
It's photo worthy, it's video worthy, it's ride worthy. As opposed to them trying to tell me we're gonna walk up 300 and something. Y'all, I don't know if it was 300 steps. It just looked like it was 3, 4, 5, 6,000 steps. Could have just been 200. I don't know. But I have seen steps like that, and I have been on steps like that, and have been like, okay. And in Malaysia, I wouldn't have even walked up those 127 steps if I had not seen this guy who was about 500 or 600 pounds. Then he had a whole chair backpack mausoleum type thing on his back, and he was proving a point. And I looked at him and I said, because I had already decided I was not going to walk up those steps in Malaysia. When I saw him, I was like, oh, girl, let's get up these steps. And I got up those steps, and I had people at the top cheering me on. I'll show you that video one day too, because I've got that archived. I think Malaysia was 20, I want to say 15, maybe 6, I don't know, could be 13, I don't remember. But I do know I had a wonderful time and can't wait to return. But again, I take a lot of pictures, not just to show off or anything. And also, like on my travel page on Instagram, I let them know in my bio, I take pictures with me in it so you know I was there. I take pictures that are unedited and raw so you know I haven't manipulated them. I take video, I take pictures that I don't edit because I want you to know these are real and raw. Listen, I don't know where filters are on anything. I don't know where to find them on IG. I don't know where, that's the little souvenir shop we went in and had a good time. I don't know how to find any of those filters or anything to pretty stuff up anyway. So what you see is what you get. If you like it, continue to look. If you don't like it, you can always blink a few times and I'll be off the screen. But that is why I take my own raw footage, because raw for me is real.
We did. What other stuff did we do?
You know, when you can take your own footage,
Went to the
you
beach.
can
Went to the
create
beach.
a whole video of the wonderful things that you've done. It just, for me, it just makes a difference, and I love it. Some of the other things that we got a chance to do in Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico, was look at some of the things. Now that little roller coaster thing there, I think what you do is you get on a bicycle and you ride this bicycle like on this tightrope. I just didn't want to do that. I want to reserve that for when I'm in New Zealand, because I've got that on my bucket list for New Zealand. So I'm gonna do that when I go to New Zealand. I don't want to be like, I'm about to do this in Monterrey, Mexico.
Now what's the
Not that it's
cola
not
colada?
worthy, but I just have that on my bucket list for something else. Back to the little ride that we took on the river walk. Guess how much it cost? It only cost $5 American, which was 100 pesos. When you go to Oaxaca, Mexico, if you go to Monterrey, Mexico, make sure you change your money, because they really do want to spend their money. I tried to get as many angles and views as I possibly could in Monterrey, Mexico, because there was so much uniqueness. Like, for instance, the water barrel that used to press all of the steel and metal, they've now turned it into a waterfall. The background with the palm trees, that was nice, that Florida, California feel. The beautiful, perfect green, which I'm sure they dye it like in San Antonio, the perfect green, beautiful water that almost gives you the illusion that you were in the Maldives, like you could see through it. You couldn't, but it was beautiful. Look at the red steel design back there. I mean, it's unique, and I'm a girl who loves bridges and those type of things to go up under. So it's a little bit nerdy, but it excites me. My daughter and I have had this whole conversation about what I think is exciting and what she thinks is exciting. And what we came to is an agreement that we don't agree on what the same things of exciting is. We don't agree on what we feel like going to a good party entails. We don't agree on what we feel like is really funny, or she thinks I'm more corny, which, hey, I accept it and I don't care. But That's life. You know, we get to create our own thing that makes us happy. And me being corny and historical, you know, loving to read and learn about facts and doing fun things. And if it's corny, then it's corny. That's fine. But those are things that light me up and make me happy and make me want to continue to do them. So whoever thinks it's weird and funny and not funny, oh well. That's all I really have to say about that. But we took a really nice slow ride. Now, one thing that I did like about this river walk too is that look at those waterfalls in the middle. It made you think like you were on some big lake or ocean or something. We were just literally on like a little river walk. The couple things different about this river walk too is that it didn't have a lot of hotels and restaurants and everything like they do in San Antonio. It was more of like buildings that were faux buildings, I call them, because they weren't real. And really, they, I guess, wanted you to participate in looking at the view, because behind that cloud right there is a beautiful mountain that they call some kind of like horse saddle mountain, because the mountain is shaped like the saddle that sits on a horse. We couldn't really see it that day simply because the clouds were just overtaking it. We only got to see it a little bit when we were in the Uber getting ready to go back to the hotel to get ready for our flight that was going to be that evening. So we stayed out until about 6 p.m. because the flight was going to leave at 8 something. But that mountain back there was one of the main attractions that you could see. Of course, in San Antonio, you're not going to be seeing any mountains again. That hotel or apartment complex or whatever back there, that building was kind of unique to me. I like tall, unique building. It was so nice and white and clean looking and just kind of almost shaped like a bell tower with a long bell on it or something. So I thought it was pretty unique. But I think I heard one of the passengers on the boat say that that actually was a hotel. No one could tell us the name of it, so I just kind of said apartment or a hotel because we didn't know. But anyway, the other thing different about this river walk is that it was more like a park type setting, because when we got off of the boat at the Riverwalk was where we found that park that had the exercise equipment. But then on the Riverwalk sidewalk area, we saw a lot of people running and exercising and, you know, just kind of relaxing. Yeah, we saw families sitting down just taking in and soaking in the sun and the beauty. And it was a really nice day, maybe about 75 degrees. So it felt really good outside. Well, it felt good to me. Maybe some other people were hot, but it felt really good to me because I knew we were coming home to 95 to 100 degree weather. So it felt really good to be able to be out and have a really great time. Again, this was my birthday weekend. So even if we had gotten stranded even more time, we would have just taken the lemons and turned it into lemonade to keep from being unhappy, dissatisfied, sad, disgusted, mad, all of those things that could have happened, because it's not really worth it when you can just make it a good time. Now, yeah, I wanted to be home. Yeah, I had things to do. Yeah, Paiton missed work. Those other people, they missed work. One of them, father was in the hospital and she didn't get to go there. You know, all of us had something that we needed to be back home for, but we decided to turn lemons into the most spicy, delicious, welcoming lemonade any of us probably have experienced. And so that right there was worth us checking out Monterrey, Mexico. I've never been to Monterrey, Mexico, but let me tell you how also, let me just tell you how things work. When Paiton and me got picked up from home in the Uber to go to start this trip, the Uber driver, he asked where were we traveling to, because of course he had to put our bags in his car, so he knew we were going somewhere. He said, where were we traveling to? And we said, Oaxaca, Mexico. He says, get out of here. And I was like, what, you know about Oaxaca? He's like, yeah, I know about Oaxaca. He said, I grew up in Monterrey, Mexico. And we used to go over to Oaxaca. He said, I actually graduated from college in, what did he say, Mexico City or either Monterrey. Anyway, he has family in Mexico City, family in Monterrey, Mexico. He went to college in Monterrey. And he knew of the culture from Oaxaca. So we're talking and talking, and he's giving me some warnings and some wins and some this and some that. And that's right there. I like that picture because of the background. I love that picture. But anyway, so how funny is it that we were one visioned? Get in the Uber, get on the plane, get to Oaxaca, have your great time for 7 days, be back home. Okay? On the 7th day. Okay? But instead, we get this delay for 24 hours, literally. And we end up in Monterrey, Mexico, where me and the guy had just talked about it. And we had talked about Mexico City. And I said, oh, you know what? I want to make a special trip to go to Mexico City. Because that was one of the drop-offs when I was buying the ticket, that they wanted to drop you off there for like a day or two. Because it's very, very, very hard to get a flight into Oaxaca, Mexico. They may have one flight in and one flight out once a week. There may be a flight that comes in and a flight that comes out. And then you may not see another flight for 7 days. So another part of lemons turned into lemonade is at least we didn't get stranded for a week. It was only for 24 hours. That's how I have to approach every single thing in life. Because if not, I would walk around so angry. So next time y'all see people walking around and they seem to be angry or they seem to be upset or they seem to have a look on their face of disgust, you just never know why they have that look on their face. Somebody ticked them off. Somebody annoyed them. Somebody did something that they're just totally annoyed about, and there's nothing you can do about it because they're just annoyed because of what happened. Well, look at me right there, just riding along that little river walk area, just looking at the beauty and turning all of those lemons. I feel like we were given 100 lemons and we just said we just gonna make 50,000 cups of lemonade. And we don't even need no sweetener. We're going to take it like it is. You know what I'm saying? That's how I really, really was feeling. Now I'm not happy with the airline that did this because it was a huge inconvenience for every one of us. I really felt bad for, all of us, simply because when you have plans and you have a life that you live and you have people that you have to take care of and things that you have to do, have your fun, and when it's time to go home, it's time to go home. It's simple as that. Like, it's like overstaying your welcome, and at some point we were like, oh my gosh, it feels like they're making us overstay our welcome, which is so dumb. But anyway, we had a really, really good time in Monterrey, Mexico. Again, like I said, when we were walking downtown, it was just like being downtown in any other place. There were people going on about their business. There were stores, department stores. There was your Starbucks. There was your hotel room, boutique hotels, of course. There were your boutique hotels. There were people dressed up in business attire. I loved that tunnel. I thought that tunnel was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why. I thought that tunnel was gorgeous, but to me, it just really, really, really was. Again, the weather was absolutely beautiful. The breeze was breezing. I'm talking about real good. But just check out the tunnel right there that we went through. The color is what I was talking about. That terracotta color was really, really, really gorgeous. And I think that's what made the tunnel look so pretty, which is why I looked back at it and was like, hold on, let me get this on camera. He was going perfectly slow in the bus as he was talking. He was giving us like all the information that we needed to know about the historical parts of where we were and what we were doing. And I was trying to get that. But there's the name of the bus tour that we do in case you find yourself dropped off in Mexico somewhere that you did not plan on. Maybe you will end up getting a map or something and getting out and getting on one of these little boats to be able to take a little trip. But it was just so much fun. It wasn't crowded. You know what? That was the other thing that I wanted to say. It wasn't crowded because the last time I got on and I'm not upset about it, I'm just saying the last time I got on the Riverwalk boat, it was so crowded. It was just crowded, but it was at nighttime. There was a lot of people out. My son had gone. That's where he wanted to go for his high school trip because he wanted his girlfriend at the time to go. So we invited her and we all went up for the weekend. My son, his girlfriend at the time, Paiton, and myself, we all went up to San Antonio and had a really, really, really good time. So I didn't regret it in the end. I just didn't like the way, I guess, it was handled. I try to take a picture of some of the other tour type things that you can do, and I like to just share with people, different things that they can do. There's the website of where you can book your tour. One little tip: when you go on a trip, don't book your tours prior to getting there. Book them when you get there, simply because you'll get a better rate. And the reason I say that is because it's been proven over and over and over and over again. I've seen it happen. Like, for example, when I went to the Bahamas, they had a lot of different tours we could have done, but they were like $200-$300. We got there, they was $40. So book your tours after you get to your destination, and maybe try to book it everything for the next day, the next day, the next day. Because if you try to do it for the same day, yeah, it might be booked out, because of course other people got there right at the same time you did. So that may not work for you, but make sure you book it to the point that you're like, okay, I'm going to actually end up getting on this particular tour. But that's just a little view there that I wanted to show you of some of the areas that we got an opportunity to go and check out in downtown Monterrey, Mexico. I do like taking, as you notice, I do like taking pictures of little monuments. I like taking pictures of architecture. I like taking pictures of silly little things like payphones, because there are 20 and 30-year-olds right now, especially teenagers too, who don't know that we used to have to use a payphone if we were out and about. Because I don't know about you, but I didn't have cell phones to be able to use. But I did promise you that I was going to show you some of the downtown Monterrey, Mexico, and that is some of the downtown Monterrey, Mexico right there. Lots of restaurants and different things. People out there, advertising for their restaurant, their stores where they sold all of the traditional type of foods and snacks and things like that. So I had a good time. I learned a few words. Baños is bathroom, and dinero is money. I knew all of that before I got there, but you need to know a few words before you go. And some of these places, if you just know something as simple as bueno, or something as simple as hola, something as simple as baños, and something as simple as dinero, and definitely stay away from the diablo. But I'm just saying, I was just making a joke there, but just make sure that you know a few words, because in some of these places, they're not going to give you any grace. Now, that's us riding back in our Uber, actually in a taxi, because our Uber, we couldn't find one because we didn't get any internet. But that's our show for today on Monterrey, Mexico. That's us driving in the Uber. That's us talking to our new friends that we met that happen to live in Pearland, Texas. How funny is that? That's the show for Monterrey, Mexico, and bye for now. Bye.
Hey, it's Miss Dawn. You wondering how you can support our show, Mother-Daughter-ish? We have Cash App, we have PayPal, and we do have Vimeo. Support our show so that we can reach out to more women. Our goal is to reach and build a community of 1 million women. Why don't you come on and help us do that?